Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Pursuit of Profit. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Leanne Ozaine-Smith. The Ozaine-Smith.
Insane Ozaine is what they called me all through high school and college.
That's right. Well, we talked about that last time and why that's so insane, but didn't we?
I don't remember. It's a good thing you do.
That's what I'm here for.
You came with wine tips today.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, let's launch with this. So I'm not a fan of Ravenswood. They make different kinds of wines, but I was at Total Wine looking for a Petite Syrah because my wife and I like Petite Syrah. And Ravenswood has a Petite Syrah. There it is.
Okay.
Vintner's blend. And it is fabulous. I like it a lot. I want to say it was maybe $6 a bottle.
What?
At Total Wine.
Does it have good body?
It's got great body. It's very dark, very rich, very deep. You can
What about the nose? What about the nose?
The nose is very soft, right? It doesn't punch in the face, but then the body is even better than the nose, I think. So
perfect. Awesome.
So, I mean, for
how does it compare
$6
to like Petite, which is amazing and jammy and knock you in the face?
Yes, it is. It holds up in terms of body. It holds up. It doesn't linger quite as long, but it does have, I would say this tastes like a $15 bottle.
Well, that's what Petite costs. So if it's on par, it's half the price. That's a very profitable choice in wine, Chris.
There you go, people. You're welcome. I just saved you. You got 2 bottles for the price of 1.
I love that.
Yes.
More fun with wine.
So those are your wine tips this week. Speaking of wine tips, and what I should have bought or should not have bought at the store, we are talking this week about shoulds and not shoulding on yourself.
Stop shoulding on yourself, people.
I know, right? And just for context, why did this come up? Because you have been experiencing some of this lately.
Yeah. So in my practice, I have people come in that want to do consultations. And what I hear all the time with consultations is, I should do this. I should do this. I should have known that. I should have. In fact, I had a consultation today with this lovely woman with a very successful business. And I counted, she said should 10 times in 40 minutes. And at one point I stopped her and I'm like, excuse me, where is this shoulding coming from? Like, you are shoulding all over yourself.
Yes.
And she said, I don't know. Like, I just should have known these things. And so that's what I want to talk about, because there are at least 4 areas that I see people are really doing a lot of shoulding on themselves. And in my practice, in what we do, that is not what we want. That's not what this is about. Like, This isn't about being perfect. This isn't about having your act together. This is about coming as you are, with what you know and what you don't know, and just letting me guide you to being more profitable and stop worrying so much about the shoulds. So that's what we want to talk about.
I love it. It's really good. I love it. I think there's the obvious answers of or the obvious solutions, like, well, I'll just stop that. Like, just stop shoulding. But I think behind that though is like the stuff I think we talk about this often, but the shame around money, the guilt around money. It can take somebody successful and make them feel really small in a snap,
Yep.
And I think the shoulds live in that space somewhere, right? Like, I should have known better. Says who? Like, why?
Yeah, why? Who taught you this? That's what I'm always saying. Like, who taught you any different until now? And they're like, no one. And I'm like, right? So you're learning now, and so we move on from here. We can't change what happened in the past. We can change what we do in our future. So got to stop shoulding on ourselves.
Yep. What's this, like, how do we, well, I mean, I feel like part of it is the whole should conversation, we just need to get rid of that. We just need to be done with that. There's never a time in life where you should something, right? Because you either do or you don't, but the should is like a totally unconstructive conversation. Right?
In almost every circumstance, but it's especially true with money. Like, one thing I hear in financial planning practice is stuff like, I should be doing X number of dollars in my retirement account. And maybe the answer is like, well, is that what you choose to do with your money? Like, are you ready to do that? And a lot of times the answer is no. So the should doesn't matter. It's almost like should is this external obligation that we put on and we wear it and we own it, even if it's not congruent with where we're at, or even feasible with where we at. The shoulds become this heavy burden, and people are walking around and they're walking through the door of my office with it all the time. And I love taking the shoulds off. And giving people freedom from that. Like, be nice to my client. I always saying to the people, hey, you need to be nice to my client. Like, you are being cruel to my client. That's you. Like, stop being cruel to you. And we have a lot of that goes on in this office.
I think, so two things. One, I want to talk about, like, once we can take the shoulds off and that we step into a clearing, an opening of no shoulds, but just what's next. I want to talk about what's next. But before that, I just want to make sure we do a thorough job of clearing out the shoulds, right? And I think that part of what causes shoulds is cultural agreements.
Yeah.
Right. So you had talked about, like, oh, I should be putting this much money away in my check. Like, you know, we've heard the 70-30 rule. Like, you should live off of 70% of your income and 30% should go to savings, investments, and tithing, or whatever the cultural agreements about money have been passed down.
Yeah.
We sort of blindly walked into them and we're like, oh, I guess that's what you do with money. I'm not an expert about money. I don't know anything about money, but they must know something about money. So that's what I should do. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what happens. So I just want to point to why I think that happens.
Yeah.
Because you got to get past the cultural agreements. They're not your agreements.
No. And one of the cultural agreements about entrepreneurship is this posturing thing that happens where, hey, like, you are at a networking group or you're anywhere and somebody asks you, how's business? Well, what can you say? You can't say, I'm scared to death. I don't know how I'm going to cover payroll. Like, we've talked about that, but you can't say that, and you won't. So what the person thinks is they should just fake it till they make it type of thing.
Yes.
And then they're walking out this.
They're walking out. What are they walking out?
What they are hoping to create with a business. That should is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah. Right. So
let's talk about a couple other shoulds that are incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Another one is I should be more committed to doing my bookkeeping.
Yeah. Right.
This makes me laugh. I had a woman in my office today who bills her time out at $300 an hour. And she told me that she should be more diligent in her bookkeeping and that kind of thing. I hear it all the time. I'm like, wait a minute, why should you be the one that does that? Do you like doing your bookkeeping? She's like, no, I hate it. I'm like, okay. Do you feel like you're good at it? And she's like, no. Do you even understand it? She's like, no. I'm like, why should you do that?
Yeah, what'd she say?
Why should I? I'm like, you shouldn't. How about we spend $40 an hour and get us a bookkeeper?
Right.
You know, spend that time and be leveraged so that you're paying somebody to do something that you don't want to do so you can do what you're amazing at, right? That is one of those really dangerous shoulds. Like, I should be better at doing my bookkeeping. No, people, if you've never taken an accounting class and you're not interested in doing your bookkeeping, then that's something that we should delegate to somebody else. So,
sorry, hang on to that, because then what is behind? So there's the should, and I don't know how I adopted that should, but I have it. I should do my own bookkeeping. I should be better about bookkeeping. But then I think there's something else. I'm maybe you have perspective on it. Like, is it that I can't afford somebody to do it? Why would I not have hired that out sooner? What's keeping me? Is it that if I were a good business owner, I would just do everything? Like, what keeps me in that should?
Two things: fear and shame. So there's this element, like, your finances are more private than the details of your sex life to a lot of people.
Right.
So when we have a business owner who feels like they should be in a different place financially, they should have more sales, they should all of these things, their business should be further along. They're walking around with that burden on, and they own it. Like, I should have a completely different business and I should know better, etc.
Right.
So to go and be vulnerable with a financial professional and say, I don't have any idea what I'm doing with this, is an incredibly humiliating. It's worse than talking to an accountant, because an accountant, when you go through the door of an accountant's office to get your taxes done, you have to have your rear in gear. Like, you have to be able to tell him or her, I spent this much by category so you can get your taxes done. That's not the same as letting somebody see every transaction that comes and goes out of your business bank account.
Right.
And with that, we attach priority, we attach all kinds of things. And so I really think it's that fear and shame. So they have the shame because of all the shoulds, like I should be in a different place, I should have more money. And then it's that vulnerability of letting somebody see and do your books for you. But the reality is, most bookkeepers, they just don't care. And I know tons of bookkeepers, and they don't speak badly of their clients. They're just it's just numbers to them. It's just money in, money out, like balancing books. They get off on creating journal entries. Like, they love that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It gets them off. Yeah. And so there's an element of just like, we have to take off the shoulds and just be vulnerable and say, this is the kind of help I need. Same thing happens when people don't want to talk to me. Right,
totally. If you're a bookkeeper listening to this, you totally need a show like Leanne has a show, because there's something about letting people know and feel safe in the conversation of money increases the likelihood that people will reach out to you versus somebody else, because, like you said, like, there's shame and fear all over money, all over it. I'm so glad you said that. That's brilliant. I wasn't even going that way in my mind, and that's totally it. That's totally it. That's totally what actually happens. Yeah, that's totally it. It's actually the reality of it. Okay, so let's move. Can we move, or do you have more on shame or shoulds? Because I also want to make sure we talk about, like, what happens once we get clear of the shoulds. Yeah. One more should that I want to put out there. I mean, we could do like 10 episodes on shoulds. Yes, we should probably just make a list of them. A list of shoulds. But the other big should that I see is, I should be doing all of these things to make more money. That's one of the biggest shoulds that walks through the door. Like, I should be posting on social media regularly because that's going to increase my sales. I should build a course. I should buy a course. I should advertise better. I should. And all of those things are about revenue drivers, every one of them. Right. And so there's this really deeply rooted thing, partially because we're carrying that posture around, like, hey, I got this. My business is amazing. It's perfect. Look at me. I'm so great. Like, when we have that going on, and then it's not actually what's going on, and we're really scared and we're petrified and we don't know where our next deal is coming from, it becomes very easy to say, all right, I should just increase sales. That's what I need to do. I need to make more money. I need to increase revenue. That's my big should. And so that's the overarching thing. And then with it becomes all these sub shoulds, right? That you can totally squirrel into and can be a total time suck. And it's not the solution. It's not the solution. Instead of, like, looking at the different things that we should be doing to increase revenue, I personally think in our practice is really centered around, that's not what we're focused on. We're focused on profit. Right. And we're focused on your revenue model, excuse me, your revenue model and your expense model, and how that, wow, I'm really choking over here. You need to have a sip of wine. Here. Yeah, the one show I don't have wine. So that's one of the bigger shoulds that is really a huge burden on people. Right, yes. So. Yes, I think you had mentioned it a while back in another episode where somebody had come in and basically you looked at what their revenue drivers were, and you helped him, like, get rid of an entire division of his business that wasn't very profitable, but was like a massive time suck. Yes. Yeah. That man's life has changed. Yep. Yeah, I saw it in his eyes. Like, I got to meet him a couple weeks ago, and he a twinkle, like, oh, I'm so glad to be done with that piece, you know? Yeah, it's awesome. But that's so true. I'm glad you said that, because you're right. So many people think it's not just a should of budgeting, but it's a should of all the other things I should do to generate more revenue. Like, I should be doing Facebook ads, and I should be doing social media posts, and I should be having 5,000 products or services. And there's all of this. I should have a show. I should have a show. Right. Well, you should have a show. But I think that's perfect because you're looking at it from both sides, not just the expense side, but the income side. Like we have these shoulds everywhere, you know, and
everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
I think you should have, when you write your book, you should have a chapter of shoulds, you know, like
okay.
when you set up the problem for people and everybody's going to find themselves in that chapter. Like, oh my God, she's talking about me.
That's awesome. Remind me of that when I write.
Yeah, right. I just did. This has now been recorded in perpetuity. You'll always have this. So
right.
Here's, so we get to the clearing of taking shoulds out of our life as best we can. And then we're left with an open space to create something. Like once the shoulds are gone, how do we start to relate to our money? Like how do we start to make this productive and constructive?
You know what? I wish there was like a super easy answer, but it really truly is business by business.
That's good. Yeah.
Depending on what the business owner's trying to accomplish.
Yep.
But what we start is, what does it take to make you profitable? Mm-hmm. Like, what does it actually take?
Right.
And when we get honest about that and we throw out traditional accounting and we're like, no, we're not doing the income minus expense model, that one definitely doesn't work. Then we have like this open space to dream and create. Let me give an example. There's this company that I've been coaching they're on month 2 of 3. And I would describe them as people who've really struggled. They're really eager. They want to learn. They really want things to be more successful, but they also have really struggled with like letting me move them to the next step and the next step. And it's a husband and wife team, and they sometimes are not in the same place, and all of that is okay. But this last week, I actually said to them, guys, you have to go home. Your homework this week is to pretend for a moment that none of this exists, and that this one part of your business that you told me you wanted, and needed to go finance, let's say it exists now. Like, what's possible? And they looked at me, and Chris, they couldn't answer the question because I think that sometimes we get so stuck in the mire of what we have. Like, this is what's in front of me right now. They just can't imagine, and they can't create because they can't engage something that feels impossible to them right now. So a lot of times when we get to that clearing, it takes people that are skilled coaches like you and like me to like move somebody forward and help them realize that you have to create something new. We can't just throw things out. We have to start over, and we have to talk about what's possible. Like another appointment I had today, we were reverse engineering her take-home pay. Like, this is how much you want to take home. Okay, this is what it looks like with a number of bodies that you have to massage in a week, right? So it varies by business. Sometimes that creation is creating.
Was she a massage therapist, please?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted context there. Okay, yes. Okay, good.
Sorry. Put your hands on bodies. Oh, I just walked right into that, didn't I? Okay. I'm blushing.
That's so good. It's so good. That's so good. All right, sorry. I distracted us.
That's okay.
Whatever.
Every business owner wants something different. And they all want the same thing. They want take-home pay and they want profitable businesses. Like, that's true. But sometimes that open space is about creating the paycheck and what it takes to do that. And then sometimes it's about creating something new in your business that you can't even have you don't have enough faith or belief in right now that you can have it. So it really just depends, right?
Yeah.
You worked in real estate forever. You know, everybody wants something different from a business.
Yep. No, it's so true. You're right. And that's, in fact, you know, back to consulting 101. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Is everybody has a different thing they're after, and there is no one size fits all. Now, that being said, there are processes, mechanisms, systems that I think once you clear out the shoulds, what's next is a profit plan. Like, once the shoulds are gone, now it's time to have a plan. See, because I think it's hard to have a plan when you're shoulding all over the place. Like, right? Like, because you won't execute on the plan. You won't follow through on the plan because you'll sabotage. You'll be like, no, I should be doing that, or I should do that. So you can never execute a plan that actually fits inside of your unique abilities, your time constraints, etc.
Yeah. That's so good. Yes. Preach.
Preach. So I think, so to your point, I mean, or to your service, even once you get past the shoulds, or even once you're, listen, I mean, I don't know if you ever really get past them, but like once you're open to moving past them, what's next is a profit plan. And that's what you do for people, right?
It is, or I do with people. Yeah.
That's what you do with people. Right.
Yeah.
So let's wrap there. Like if people want to reach out to you and they want to schedule,
they want to stop shitting on themselves.
Yes. Yep. And they're ready for a plan that actually moves them in the direction of their financial future where they want to be.
Yep.
How do they schedule time with you?
ProfitDiscoveryCall.com. There's a book a consultation button. And when you push that button, please know that the shoulds are checked at the door and we just talk about your business and see what's possible.
And you're really, I mean, those that have listened to this show long enough know, but I can vouch that you are a very safe place for, like, even if you have shoulds, just come into the conversation wanting change. And like you said this morning, like this person said 10 shoulds in 40 minutes. And if you listening to this say 5 shoulds in 30 minutes, like Leanne won't eat your face off, but she'll just like,
I'm going to point it out.
But she will point it out.
Opportunity to grow out of it.
Exactly. But that's how we move. That's how we move forward, I think, with that. And I think sometimes a lot of people don't even know that the shoulds are the thing that is the lid on their growth. They think it's a lot of stuff externally. Like it's not I don't have enough revenue. I don't have enough products. I don't have enough people. I mean, whatever it is, there's a lot of things, but actually if you look inside, there's a lot of shoulds happening and we just don't know that. So, so you guys can go to ProfitDiscoveryCall.com. Check out time with Leanne there. And Leanne, good stuff.
Good stuff. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.